welcome to another episode of Allegedly Credible.
Yes.
It's your girl, Lady Faye.
It's your girl, Mellow Supremo, up in here in the airwaves.
And just so you know, we are two friends, and we're giving you our thoughts and opinions based on things that we've actually been through in our lives. And, you know, our disclaimer is our thoughts and our opinions are our own, and our views are constantly evolving. We are not experts, and we don't claim to be. We won't always agree with each other, and that is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, take what advice you need. Whatever you don't, throw out or give it to somebody else.
Recycle it.
Like, use it.
Make the earth a greener place.
So last week we talked about meeting your partner's family, part 1, and that was you bringing your partner family home.
Yeah. That's when you bring your partner to visit your family at their house or your house that you're currently living in.
Yes. And then this week's episode, we're going to be talking about meeting the family part 2.
You're going over to their house,
and you know,
where they live.
The following week is Thanksgiving, so I'm sure a lot of people are going to be bringing their
significant others
home for the first time.
Which is, honestly, I'm just going to say this right now. Don't be one of those people like, you know what? 'Tis the occasion. I'm going to just go and put this all. Because especially in our culture, that's just a recipe to be like, you know, getting all types of ridicule and like, you know, this fool, you know what she did last Thanksgiving.
You know what she cooked? You know what she brought here?
She tried to be slick over here.
Anyway, so last week's episode, we had our guest from our brother podcast, Jerk
Jollof and Collard Green.
Yes.
Face me to get them bombs dropping.
They are back again this week to talk to us.
It's like they never left, isn't it?
They never
left.
Oh my god!
We didn't.
Oh my god, we
Oh my god! Wow.
Oh yeah, still wearing the same outfit. Damn.
Between shows.
Stay clean.
So,
and if you didn't notice, we're on your TV screen.
Yes. Or your cell phone, so however you watch
We're on some type of screen.
So, anyway, I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Go ahead, Chunky.
Hello, I am Chunky.
I'm
Heard from you last week. Hear from me this week. Hey, once again, I'm going to plug the podcast real quick. That's what I forgot to say the last episode is that we're on all streaming platforms as well. I don't know how I forgot that. Anyway, you can check us out on Instagram on Jerk Jollof Collard Pod. Episodes drop every Wednesday. And once again, I'm Chunky. Francis, your turn.
What's goody? It's your boy Francis, aka Franchise. What's poppin'? What good? Good to be back for part 2. Let's get it.
All right, we're gonna jump right in here. So, is meeting your partner's family a big deal or nah?
No. I mean, well, to me, I like meeting new people, so.
Yeah, you would be like that.
Trying to play me like
I know.
You
dismissed the girl.
You don't like meeting nobody.
I don't like meeting anybody, but if I did meet my partner's family, they would love me. But that's
You tell them.
But you don't. You know what? You know what?
I don't mind meeting my partner's family.
My name is Danielle, and I'm the shit.
I was like, let Mr. Future Danielle know.
What about you, Francis?
It's a big deal. It's a big deal because I mean, you know, we talked about it last week. I don't just take any girl to the crib. So for me to go to your crib, I think is just as important because it tells me our relationship is very stable and we see it going far. So like for me, it's important. So let's get it. Shanky, what do you think?
I was like, oh, I was sweating there. Woo! Finally, been moving to your parents' house. Great. I know I am the one at this point. To me, it's a big deal. I'm breaking out my best suit, my best shoes, favorite cologne. You know, I'm gonna make a good impression. You only get one first impression. You got to make it count, right? So as long as I look good, it doesn't matter what comes out my mouth afterwards.
But you know what's so funny, y'all? Like the fact that you think that meeting the parents is like such a pivotal moment in the relationship, when there's people out here that's just like, oh yeah, I went and met his parents and we did this, but we broke up 2 minutes ago. What happened?
Exactly. People do it. It's so way too casual for some
It's way
people.
too casual. And maybe,
Yeah.
and it's funny that I'm saying that because I felt like I did, okay, so I did see that there was significance, but the way that it happened, it was nonchalant. Like, it's just like, hey, like my name's Mel. Like he didn't even really like introduce me. She was just like, hey, this is the girl that I've been talking to, and they were like, you've been dating someone?
That's funny.
Walked up in that house and I was just like, hi, and then we went upstairs.
So it's funny. So my girl, before I met her parents, and we were still like in that seeing each other phase. So she, whenever she comes over to my crib, I guess she was telling her parents she was going to see a friend.
Mhm.
And sometimes, during that early stage, I used to get flowers, here and there, Valentine's Day, stuff like that. And she goes back home with flowers. And so this is stories her mom told me later. And she was like, so your friend is giving you flowers and all of this gifts. So it's kind of so funny, like how like they like know about you, but like, so like until you actually meet them, I think that's really what really makes it special, because you may know about them, but until you actually really meet them and they kind of measure you up, see how, if you're good enough for their daughter, I think that's really what makes it special.
It's funny. If that was me, if I was coming home with all these gifts and flowers and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, so you seen a friend?" I'd be like, "Heck yeah!" Friendship relationships are just as important as romantic ones, and I'd be like, that's my friend."
Yeah.
Well then,
What kind of friend gives you flowers?
Doesn't matter.
Friends with benefits.
I would stick with
They say he's just a friend, and
I know.
he said he's just a friend. Oh,
rest in peace to the great
You
one.
got what I need. I can't sing, so I'll shut up.
You should hit that high note, man.
R.I.P. the big Mark.
Yeah. I don't know. I think like when I met my wife's family, it was weird. So it was like all of them. So my thing was, it was just like, all right, who is the staple of the family? I need to go and address that person. All right. Met her mom. Hey, Mrs. Such and Such, nice to meet you. Hey, staple of the family, nice to meet you. Let me be on a decent behavior. All right, who's the next masculine one in here so I can prove dominance of who I am? I was like, you need to know I am not a chump, and whoever wants to come at me, do it now. Because I'm dating this woman and she's well protected. And if I have to display that right now, that is not a problem. So
that's critical, bro.
And trample you right now is gonna happen.
This is a good question.
That's critical.
Question. So who met? Did you guys? Okay, who met? Wait, what am I trying to say?
Like who met who first?
Who first? So, for instance, did you meet her family before she met your family, or?
Yeah, I met her because her family she was more comfortable. Introduced me to her family before I was, because I had to like set it up, make sure it was the right time, and all of that stuff. Hers was more. They are a lot more casual, just super more or less. It was a very easy process from their end.
Okay, all right. What about you, Junkie?
You already know that answer. I met her family before she met mine. It's like, I ain't getting duped.
Yo, she can say the same thing about you, bro. That's a good point, though. That's real. He's like, I gotta see what you're about first.
Had me out in the streets looking all crazy.
Everything play with you, Chunky.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
You always gotta be on your toes.
That's it. Always on the defense.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
I ain't trying to get you out here.
Okay, so oh, sorry, that was funny as hell. So, what did you specifically do to try to charm? I'll start with Mel. What did you specifically do to try to charm like Terrence's parents or anything like that? Did you do anything specifically?
Charming. I showed up.
Hey, swag.
Hey, there it is. There it is.
Okay, I see you.
But then, like, that was a whole different, like, Mel. Like, that was the Mel that didn't think that people hated her. That was the Mel who's just like, what could be possibly wrong with me? I didn't. Meanwhile, she physically abusing her. I literally tackled him in front of his parents. Yeah, this is normal.
I like it.
Playing. Yeah, I guess what I did to charm them is like be, I went to finishing school. Like I know how to be polite. Yes, but I know how to act in public somewhat.
What?
What about
scratching myself.
What about you, Chucky? What did you do to like try to
charm, bring on the charm
Yeah.
to
Bring on
the
a charm.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it that way. I thought of it as like I said before, just being who I am. Like I know I'm like a crazy ass person, so it's just like
we
I'm
need
just gonna adopt it back, huh?
we need to hang out because I feel like we with it. Like
someone gonna get hurt when we hang out. I gotta
y'all
get
two
bail
on the
money
same
right.
vibes for sure.
hey, no new friends, right?
I'm staying away from y'all.
I said, "Oh, you looking at my homie? You looking at my homie? You wanna fight?" Yeah, I looked at it this way. I was just like, all right, I'm gonna be majority me in a way where it doesn't come down to violence. I just spoke to everybody, introduced myself, said, hey, this is who I am. It's nice to meet you, so on and so forth. And anyone who asked me questions, I answered any and every question, no matter what it was. Like, well, what do you do? Well, I do this. What school do you go to? I go here. What are your future aspirations in life? I was like, I want to be a millionaire. So mind your fucking business. How I do that? It's up to me.
Right hands with this guy.
So yeah, it was pretty much like depending on the age of the individual too. So if it's like a grandparent, I would approach that a lot differently. So it's just like, oh, okay, like, hey, my name is such and such. Nice to meet you. Hey, can you give me like a nugget of knowledge about life that I can take forward and be a successful person? And they would tell me something like, cool, awesome, thank you, I appreciate it. And then if it's someone like a parent age, it's like, hey, nice to meet you. Like, your daughter's wonderful. I appreciate you being around her. She told me X, Y, and Z story about you. It was like a cousin or something. I'm like, go fuck yourself. Get out of my face.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Like no what?
No filter. Okay.
Why no love to the cousin?
Because like cousin didn't matter to me, right? So like she has a sister and brother, and I would talk to them like, hey, what's up? So I am, whatever. Wasn't anything too intense. The whole thing it's just that the way I looked at it, the people that helped raise you are more important because they gave you the foundation about the character that you have today. Granted, your siblings or your closest cousins give you the personality, if that makes any sense, like you being able to talk about certain things and be who you are. But when it comes down to a foundation of a person, that's what makes a relationship last, and that's what creates an actual marriage.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the cousins need love too.
They got it eventually, just not that point.
Need love too, chunks.
She got her favorite like cousins, and that's why she.
All my cousins are my favorite.
Yeah.
Questionable.
Anywho,
yeah.
So what about you? What about you, Francis? Like, was there anything that you were like, all right, I'm bringing up?
Yeah. For me, I feel like there are a few things that's really critical, right? You have to show that you're a provider, that you can be trusted, especially with the dad, like you can trust me with your daughter, and just and you can just be there and for your daughter. So for me, I'm just so prideful of like my accomplishment in life. So I like to make sure I let it out when I get there. Like, hey, this is what I do. This is my credential. This is where I work, because I make sure I don't just blur that out, but I make sure that I state that in a conversation, so they know, like, okay, he has a set, he's doing okay for himself. I can trust my daughter with him. He'll be able to provide for and take care of the household and be a provider. So those are things that I like to ensure that I display when I do meet my potential in-laws. and just to kind of show my funny and fun side too. I'm super outgoing, so it's easy just to show that I can have a conversation with a rock if I need to, and and just kind of show that side of myself.
That you're crazy.
He needs some.
Hey, call it what you want. I call it outgoing, okay? And it's really, that's for me is really like the core. More important is just making sure like the parents can trust you with their daughter and know that she will be okay.
Yeah, I'm like, this feels like a whole different world for me. I've never actually met anybody I've never met their family, but I don't know. I feel like if they met me, if we got that far, I think they would have liked me. I just feel like they would have. I mean,
Or they will like you.
They will like you. For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Build that confidence.
You're super fun. Come on now.
Okay, let's keep it in the present.
Yeah, let's keep it in the present.
I guess whenever I meet my future whoever, I think their family would like me. I feel like they would. I'm very I'm good with kids,
You're good with kids.
I can cook, I can sing.
Yeah. Now we talking.
Sleep.
I'm very talented. I'm very I have a good head on my shoulders, I think. So.
I love your son so much.
I love your son so
That's going to be the line we sit at the table. Your son is amazing. I'm happy to be around him.
Okay.
The only type of parent that I don't think that I would do well with is if maybe they're like a mama's boy. And the mom is like, you didn't make my son's plate for him before you down and your plate. Hell no, I didn't.
And it's funny that you say that. It's so funny that you say that because they're talking about it in a guy's perspective. Like they need to know, your parents need to know that you are safe and sound with me in my arms, and everything's gonna be cool in the gang. But then when it comes to us, to be like, well, what you bringing to the table? It sure wasn't that plate from Thanksgiving.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I would definitely cook. I would definitely make a plate if we're already there. But if we're at a family gathering, you expect me to sit here and make a plate? You got 2 legs.
But if you ain't got no arms, you can't carry that plate still.
That whole conversation though is high key problematic because it's so funny. If you're in a family gathering, let's just say 2021 is Thanksgiving and everybody's in the house with no mask on, acting like a damn fool. So if my husband was like, you want me to make you a plate? It is what it is. But I feel like you have to establish the type of relationship. Are you that relationship we make plates for each other? Or are you making plates for me and me alone? Or whatever.
We make plates for each other.
We make plates for each other. I'm not gonna be here
and be like, oh, I'm not if it's expected. So that's the only thing.
And I wish someone's on to be coming up to me and be like, I saw you didn't make your man the plates. They're trouble.
So
that's against gender roles, right?
Nah, so the way I look at it, right? So if she's a guest in my family's household, I would make the plate for her.
Yeah.
And I would expect her to reciprocate it when I go to her family spot.
Right.
And I think that's appropriate. I don't think it's appropriate if I'm with my family and she's making me a plate. One, she's my equal and my counterpart. She's not my slave or underneath me. So as a grown ass man, I can go you're right, I can make my own plate. We're good to go. But to me, I wouldn't get too caught up into that. I think it really depends on the setting. And if some aunt or cousin says something, that's what I say, fuck the cousin. Because it's just you got something slick to say. It's just it's not your business.
Right. I think that's the only type of parent that wouldn't like me. If they're just if they're oh, I expect my son to be catered to hand and foot. That ain't gonna happen.
That's a red flag, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Mama's can be, there's 2 types of mama's boys. There's the mama's boys that are reciprocating to that, oh, well, my mom comes first in my life and everybody else is second, versus I love my mom and my mom takes care of me, but now it's time to put my big boy pants on. You know what I'm saying? There's 2 types, and I'd rather deal with that one. I'd rather you have a healthy relationship with your mom rather than trying to emulate your mom in your relationship, because I ain't your mom. I'm trying to.
I mean, that's real though. I mean, I had to learn that in my relationship, because I grew up with my mom being like this superwoman, raising kids, still
Because
cooking for
moms
the house,
are
all of this.
women.
Uh, then I learned, I can't put that same expectation on my wife, because one, it's not fair. Number
Mhm.
two, it's not 2000, it's not 1920 anymore. Everybody's got a job, everybody's busy. So, you have to kind of define what your role and what's the culture in your household. How do you guys, what is the expectation and what do you guys expect from each other? So, but yeah.
Mhm.
But hey, but
So
my mom still make my plates when I go over there. I ain't gonna
Wait. Now that's a
lie.
conversation. So when your mom makes your plate, what does your old lady do about it? Like, did she feel some type of way, or she was just like, oh well?
Well, she doesn't. I mean, because my sister. So okay, to be for transparency, and my sister does, because in the African culture, like the younger siblings are expected to do more of like the serving.
Okay.
So my sister does it for me more. I mean, if my mom is not doing it, my sister is doing it. And if my wife is with me, then my sister does it for her sometimes, or she gets up and do it herself. So it's really like, you know,
That's,
yeah, it's really interesting though how that works. But that's the culture too.
that's interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah.
but I
Was
would say,
The more
oh,
you know.
sorry.
go ahead.
I'll say that's the perfect dichotomy between Francis and I. So like I'm a mama's boy, but to the other end, right? So it's like I do all this for my mother, so I'm gonna do the same thing for my wife. Like I'm not a provider, I'm a protector, which means I do everything underneath the sun. So I love, I fight, and anything you need is done. So there's nothing you have to worry about at all. So like, all right, cool. Like my relationship, the relationship I have with my mother is really good. And it's just like we have no issues, we had no problems, and any other dominant female in my family. So she can expect that to be treated towards her. So I didn't disrespect any female in my family. I didn't like do anything that I wasn't supposed to do. So when she got with me, she understood like, hey, I'll open the door for you. Opened the door for her to get in the car. She slammed it. I thought it was funny. But like, hey, like you need this, I'll provide for it. And it's not, oh, I provide because I make the most amount of money. It's like that's my responsibility as a traditional male. That's how I was raised, that's how I was brought up. So if we're out and you don't serve me a plate of food, cool, whatever. If another family member serves me a plate of food, I'm gonna get up, either A, give you my plate, or tell that family member to serve what she specifically likes so she gets my plate from me and I go make my own stuff. So that's the way I look at it. I wasn't babied at all. I was told to like, put your big boy pants on at an early age and be successful. If someone stands in your way, you just run them over. That's it.
It's a balance, Chunky. So there's a balance. Something called balance.
That was perfectly balanced how I eloquently stated that. I didn't say I'll use violence to move them. I just said, just run them over.
So I have a question. So when you met your partner's family, were there anything that you were specifically looking for? Like, were there anything that you were like, oh, that's a good quality, I like that? Or is there anything that you're like, that's a red flag, I gotta, I don't know how much I like that? I'll start with you. I'll start with Mel. What about you, Mel?
I don't want to. I'm not ready to. I'm still processing. Like, I don't think that I actually. Well, I'm gonna let them answer because I don't remember having any. I was just glad that I was brought to the table.
Hey, that part, that's real. I mean, I guess I can go. I mean, to be honest, for me, I was kind of just looking through how like my wife and her parents and the way her dad and her mom interacted. So because the way, whatever like way they interacted is probably the way my wife would treat me, because that's what she grew up with. Whatever she like, how her, if her mom always kind of corrected, how Chunky says he doesn't like it if his wife corrected him. If like her mom is like that, I would probably more likely to expect that from her. And one thing, it's funny because after you've been dating your spouse for a long time and you actually spend time with the parents as well, you will see this, like there are some things that they like, the resemblance there is, you will always see it. So yeah, so for me there was not anything I would say was as a red flag. It was really getting to know them as a family and observe their interaction with each other and the relationship. And I loved how close they were. they were really close. There was a family relationship there. Like I was actually kind of jealous at one point because of how close. Yeah, dead ass. I love the relationship between my wife and her sibling. They were so close. They like call each other every day. They were like always checking in on each other. And I was like, man, I love my siblings, but we don't talk that much like now on a daily basis to that level. So for me, it was really awesome. If anything, I felt like I gained more insight to like how close they were instead of just kind of hearing about it, but actually seeing it. So it was kind of cool.
Okay. All right. What about you, Chunky?
Um, I walked there. I didn't have any expectations.
Mhm.
I just keyed in on certain things. I was like, oh, they like drinking. Cool. This is be a fun ass family. um, Also, like weirdly enough, I was just trying to figure out everyone's like professions. Like, oh, what does everyone do? Like, are they public servants? Do they work in the private sector? And that to me was a way to figure out how they interacted with me and with other people. So you look at people who work in the public sector, like teachers or police officers or anything like that, they're really giving of themselves because they go out and they do a duty to assist other people. Not to say people in the private sector are selfish, but you kind of understand that you take a lower paying job to do a bigger level of service to somebody else. So that was interesting to see like who did what. And I was like, okay, well, does she have an expectation of me to fall into one of these positions? Like, what is she used to? What is the conversation that she likes having outside of me? But nonetheless, like I didn't have any other worries besides that. I was like, all right, let me just grab a beer, just kick it, and just talk about sports. And people talk about basketball. I'm like, you lost me. Like I have no idea what basketball is. Like it's 2021. I'm still trying to draft Dennis Rodman. So,
There we go.
so yeah, that's it with that.
Like I can get that. Like you guys are very insightful. I think it's so interesting to hear their side because their perspective is like, what can I add to my girl's already, bubble that she's established? Like
Mhm.
how can I put this puzzle piece into her life and make it fit? Meanwhile, like girls, like we're the bubble, we're the ones that are making the environment, and people are trying to find where they can fit in our lives. For me, when I met his family, I was mostly like keying in what they like to do, and not saying like I wanted to emulate that, but see if we can even vibe. Like, could this be a potential of a beautiful relationship, or I'm just like, I only see you at Christmas every other year.
That's real.
Everything worked out great, and well, I at least on my end,
Mhm.
I don't know. Like, and the cool thing about it, like Taryn would tell me if there were things that I could have tweaked or who said what. Yeah, Taryn, put your business out there. I know everything. But it was like it was essential, and he checked me, and I made my all my tweaks, and yeah, I think it was a good thing. I didn't really have any expectations. I was just, like I said, glad to be a part of the the whole spiel. I was honored.
I mean, for me, one other thing that like I didn't mention, since I was going to like more of a white, you know, family, and
Right.
as a black man, I had to like like really figure out like, okay, do they fuck with people like me? They fuck with,
I
That
get what
could
you
be
you know,
the
mean.
like
whole
that,
like a bomb, like see, like a land.
yeah. Yeah, I had to like, I didn't like obviously. So I mean, but something you have to think about, like, okay, did they really fuck with me, or did they fuck with me and but fuck with my kind of people? Because you don't want to be like, oh, you the like the okay black man, like you're the acceptable black man. We feel comfortable around you. You good, you get the pass. But so that's something that you kind of back in your mind, you have to make sure like, okay, make sure they actually really generally care about you, and they do. They are amazing people, and like in when the first year of us dating, we actually did a family trip to Mexico, and
Oh,
that's when I really like I was like, wow, this is the closest I've ever been to a girlfriend's family before. So like from there on, I knew, okay, this is real. and this is like way bigger than I was even thinking it was before. So, but that was something I honestly was thinking. You just had to keep it 100.
As soon as you get invited to that family trip, that's the hook, line, and singer for real. On
Yeah.
both sides. Like if your family invites, like, oh, why don't you bring so and so? It's just like
Me? Me?
So all I was thinking, have y'all seen Home Alone?
yeah, that's
You
my
know how like they go on their family trip and all of them are in the kitchen and it's like in my head, Francis, that's what I was thinking about. Like you wait to like a family vacation, there's a whole bunch of people just running around trying to get on the plane, all that stuff.
Home Alone 2 is actually one of my favorite movies of all time. A little fun.
It's a great movie. I love that entire series.
All right, so I have a question. So, not obviously, it seems like you guys like your current partners, your spouse's
We
families.
like him.
Well, you.
I'm just...
Whoa, hey, slow down there.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, have you ever met like partner's family and like you didn't like them, or has that ever happened? Like
a part of their family, or just like the family in general, like when you first met them?
Just in general, or it could be okay. Let me think about how I want to say this. So okay, so let's say your family now, like extended family. Have you ever met like a part of your partner's family, you didn't really care for them, and how do you handle that situation? Or have you ever had a person before you dated? I mean, like before this person that you're seeing or married to, and you met their family, and you were like, yeah, I don't like them. Like, has that ever happened?
For the record, I've dated no one before my current spouse.
Okay.
No, that was a joke. That was a complete joke. Yeah, I'll take this one, Fran. So yeah, I did have an issue, and it was a really big issue, and I don't have a subtle personality. So pretty much they thought I was an arrogant asshole. So I was like, cool. So for me, everybody gets one. Let's talk about it. Like, what makes you feel this way? What interaction happened that you interpret this way? Because I'm really not a bad person. And it was like one night, I think I came over, it was like 3 a.m, like I got off of work, I went to go pick her up, and I just wasn't down to talk. I was like exhausted. I was like, I'm extremely tired. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm trying to get in and out. And they had a problem with me. I'm just like, cool, that's your fucking fault, number one, for not saying something to me, and two, I'm not going to fucking fix it. If you're not willing to come and speak to me about it, why should I bother? You just have to deal with that. No matter what you think of me as a person, you never gave me the opportunity to express myself to you to clear the table. So every time I went over there, it was bad blood, like bad blood, and more people started to not like me. When it came down to the male members, I'm like, yo, either you want to fucking throw hands, or else you get the fuck up out my face. Period. And it's just like, you don't understand what's
Sounds like
going
a movie.
I was like, I take care of her. I do what I have to do. And you're assuming from a man to another man, you're not willing to approach me and talk to me? Nah, fuck you. And then I got into a situation where I almost did throw hands. Like, dude was coming outside of his mouth. He was like, you know how to fucking treat her, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, cool. So why don't you bring your ass over here and get fucked up? Oh, you gotta be like, I was like, no, shut the fuck up. Be a real man and don't yell at me from across the fucking street. Come see me, and I guarantee you, I'll be the last thing you see before God.
Oh, jeez.
About
Oh
that.
boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I
was just like, I was really upset because I was like, listen, I'm taking the time to speak to you, and you're not giving me that ability just to be a rational human being. So if you think I'm not about that life, you're going to be the sacrifice to show the rest of this family that I'm willing to kill for my spouse.
Think again.
Yeah, that sucks. I mean, so did you guys kind of just ended it after that, or
no? So like, people realized who I was. It was someone else that sat down. It was actually one of the older members of the family who sat down and talked to me. That they saw what I was doing for my grandmother. Like, I was really taking care of her. Like, I was driving hours and miles to just do simple stuff like fix the door or fix the washing machine. And I would pick my spouse up, bring her over because my grandmother loved her. And she went back and she told her grandfather, and her grandfather was just like, he's not a bad dude. So anyone else who has a problem with him, you're dead wrong. And I was like, cool. That brought me my end. I kind of didn't mess with anybody else. Someone had a problem with me, I kind of just ignored it. I was like, there's no point of engaging with you because the person that matters the most in the family sees me for who I am. So if you decide not to fall in line, I'm just going to pretend like you just don't exist to me. So once again, I am going to walk through you.
You're gonna get run over.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I haven't had like anything to that level with Chunky of Chunkies, but one my ex that I dated, it was unfortunate because her brother, I think he had a problem with me. He never really, confronted me in a way where like we were about to like start yelling or throw hands or anything, but I knew he did not really like me, and I think I felt that he didn't think I was good enough for his sister, and the reason for that was because before I knew he was the girl, because when I was one of those guys in college, I was friends with the African group, the Hispanic group, the African group, the Black, and like that. So I was kind of like blended in with like pretty much all of the group in college. So I met this guy. He was visiting because I was with my African group at the time. So I think he has this perception of who he thought I was. Like maybe he thought I was a player or just wasn't really focused to I don't know what he thought I was doing with his sister, but and he just always looked for ways to like deter our relationship and not didn't get the support I felt like I needed. You know, I didn't feel like I could go and talk to him about any issues that we were having because there was a time, my ex and I we were trying to figure out because she's in fashion and she wanted to move to New York and we were trying to decide, okay, like should we stick together? And it became like a huge deal between our relationship and almost broke us up. But I think it did eventually did end us. We ended up broken up because of all the issue that he did end up creating going through that phase. So like I just felt like I couldn't talk to him about like what was going on. I didn't get his support. And it was just tough to deal with. So it did end up, ended our relationship, which was unfortunate because I actually really was willing to drop everything in Minnesota and move out to New York with her. But
You were
You was out in the Midwest.
I'm in Minnesota, yeah. That's why I'm saying like the culture of what I was talking about is Midwest. Very, it's like 85% white people in the Midwest.
You're on the East Coast with us.
No, that's why I'm saying I'm in the West. I'm in the Midwest.
Wow, culture shock for me.
Yeah, so that's why like with the first name and stuff is very permanent here. That's what is expected versus first and last and calling people by the because people feel older when you call them by Miss and Mrs.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Okay.
that's why they feel like you aging them when you do that.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, yeah. So that is my experience with that, and it was just something I couldn't really do anything about it. And I knew if I had the support and we were able to kind of talk through stuff, me and his sister probably would have worked out a lot. We would have went further than we did. I think so. It is what it is. It wasn't meant to be.
I don't think I've met any of my. Okay, I did meet some of my ex's, family members, but it was more like a high and by thing. Like it wasn't serious. And then, for it, with the current relationship, there have been people that probably I wasn't their cup of tea, but me and Taryn are solid as a rock. And
most of Terrence's family is more accepting of you than his friends were. Actually, I think is more.
well, so there were probably 3 people that were, I guess, two of the 3 people were more significant, but Terrence, the type of person that's like, my opinion is what matters most, and he's kind of like you. He makes things right in his mind first before he goes and lets anybody else have an opinion or let it sway him in any way. And in my family there was like one person that was just like, but it wasn't enough to, make a big dent or anything.
Okay.
And then they ended up liking him anyway. And I feel like that's just like the story of our relationship. They might not like us now, but wait a minute. We'll grow on you.
So I have another question. So my question is there anything that you met, like when you met your partner's family, and to this day, that you're just like, that is just a weird tradition or a weird thing that they do that I still don't rock with? Or something that's strange, or just something that's like, yo, like it just was a shock to you or anything like that. So I'll start with you, Chunky.
Honestly, nothing. There's like I have a weird bunch of people in my family, so they seem a lot more normal than we are. So, but they have a fantastic relationship amongst themselves. So, like, they go see each other on certain holidays, or they'll just have like a random get together. Like, hey, come over to our house. Like, we're throwing a pool party in the middle of July. Like, there's no given reason. So, this is all dope and positive stuff. My
Okay.
family, we're just crazy.
Okay. Nothing was weird. Nothing, like, not even a tradition that you're just like, wow, that's odd. Like,
Once again, she is the most normal out of the two of us.
That's funny. You know what? I mean, nothing really sticks out to me either. Like, if I would say something though, like, so her parents love, like, they just love to be in the water. Like, they love to be on their boats, like literally like every day. And I think it's weird as shit. It's like they don't do anything but spend time on their boat. It's like, yo, this is like, I call it like doing their white people shit. Like, I laugh at my wife. Like, yeah, there you go, doing your white people shit.
Whoa.
What?
Let's backtrack. So, speaking of like Midwest Great Lakes stuff,
Yeah.
think about Detroit. There are a lot of Black people who own boats out there who get on their boats during the summer and hang out.
Right.
So you're telling me there's Black people out there doing some white people shit?
No. I'm not saying going on a boat is white people shit. I'm just saying for them, is at the rate that they go, they just spend too much time. I feel like they spend too much time.
You ever been on the water? Get that.
I can't swim, so
fresh water. That okay? Now we got to the bottom of it. That's why. Thank you.
Just say hold up. I feel like I'm right there with you, Francis. Like, you making it seem like they on the boat, and it's like the boat is their house, and their house is like where they.
So it's like they gotta go on it every once a day. It's like, yo, like, can we do something else?
Oh, I was on the boat. I didn't get your call. I was in the middle of the ocean.
I'll just say, Francis, learn how to swim. Maybe you enjoy it better.
You know what? Deadass, I took a month of swimming class,
Nice.
and
I
still can't swim.
I'm telling you, bro. Breaststroke. If you learn how to breaststroke, you're good.
No, I know. So there's the thing though. So when I say this, people laugh at me because I know it doesn't make sense. So I know the technique to swim. I can swim from one end of the pool to the next, but I cannot tread water or float for shit. So if you drop me in the water, I'm sinking.
How did you take a swim class and not learn how to tread water first?
No.
That's not how they do it, bro.
It's what? That's
okay.
mind-boggling.
I know how to swim, and I've taken lifeguard classes. Like, I'm a good swimmer. I'm a strong swimmer, but I cannot float. I can tread water just because, but I don't tread water because I know how to float. Like, I'm constantly, if I stop moving, it's like I'm just.
Yes, but that's what happens. So here's a key tip, right? So you think about like your lungs are full of air. So if you take a deep breath, you'll be more buoyant than you would breathing out. So the whole premise of like pretty much treading water is constant movement. And you'll figure out your level of constant movement, whether it's like spinning your legs the way egg beaters do, or just putting your arms like back and forth, or just doing a bicycle kick and leaning onto your back. whatever's more comfortable for you. So there are
Yeah.
different techniques of treading water, but to me,
It's easier
if
said and done, bro.
any,
That's the issue.
trust me. Like I struggle learning how to swim.
And Danielle, this is a
So
life-changing, life-saving right here. Because first of all, we just found out this man live in damn Minnesota, don't you know?
Hey,
you
I call it
pop?
Minnesota.
Minnesota?
Minnesota. Because it be snowing up here.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, but not yet. So
Oh.
yeah, I don't want none of that yet. But
Oh, it's
but
gonna
it
happen.
gets crazy.
Wow,
But,
you need to
but
take
yeah,
lessons. You need to learn how to tread some water.
That should be the next episode. We're gonna have the episode at the pool and water.
getting your camera struggling.
I'm in it just to just sit there and just point and laugh at Francis and then jump in. Kick your legs, bro. Kick your legs, bro.
Save me.
You learn how to swim.
Save me.
You will be on that boat every day.
I'm telling you.
No.
Okay, fine. Like I said, I have to like that's one thing for me. But like beside from that, they do everything else everybody do. You know, they normal. So
But we completely neglect it. Just take a life jacket. It's fine.
of course. That's what I do when I go on the boat, bro.
That's
You
it.
gotta
Just
catch me with that one.
Clip it on. If you fall overboard, you're fine. You still float automatically.
Bro, trust me, my mama will be mad if she knows I don't. So that's the number one rule.
What about me?
Yeah.
The one thing that caught my eye was like, so Taryn's family is way more like chill than mine. The fact that Taryn can go and like curse in the house and not like be threatened that their life is gonna be ending, I was like, ugh. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, mom. I was like, fuck that dick. I was like,
Oh damn.
and then like and then I was able to start cursing. It's just like, yeah, that bitch over there. And he's like, yeah, girl. I was like, bitch. But I can't. I tried it with my mom. I was just like, well, we're all adults here. Shit, what you say? Nothing. I didn't say not a darn thing, mom.
That's funny.
So, yeah, it was the cursing in the house. I was just like, oh wow, that's interesting. Take notes.
So this is the last.
I was just thinking of something else that I just remember. I think like in their family was more okay to like. I think you could talk back a little bit to your parents when like I didn't grow up with. I can't even like respond back to my mom because that backhand was coming.
Yeah.
It's like you observe that a little bit where because it's more like acceptable. It's not. I mean, you don't not supposed to do it, but it's a little bit more. It seems more acceptable at least. In that environment. So that's one thing I guess that I just remember.
Right. So here's my next question. So, what is the one thing that you feel like your spouse's family loves about you? Absolutely loves about you. Like if they're like if they were to describe you and be like, Francis, this is my favorite thing about you. What would you say it is?
I think it's top. I feel like there's two things. I know you said one thing, but I'll say two things.
Oh, here we go.
Shut up, Chunky. I knew you were gonna say something. Inside joke. Anyways, I think they would say like very outgoing because I feel like I get along with pretty much a lot of the family members, and they all feel very comfortable talking to me. So very outgoing. And one thing as well as hardworking. So they know that I stay grinding, and actually my wife was they know I have so much things going on and I'm not able to make it to a lot of like the family events because I'm always, for instance, busy doing something, so you can't show up, you can't come, you can't be there. So they associate
of getting out of stuff.
Ooh.
No, it's because I'm doing something like productive, so they know like for instance always grinding, always busy doing something. So those are the top two. Why are you coming for me right now? I'm telling you my answer and you coming for me.
Oh, I'm at work, boo.
I'm hurt. I'm hurt.
So that's the reason why you just stick to one and don't give two.
It's okay. I feel like it's true though, because that's what I feel they think.
What about you, Chunky?
Reliable. So
Oh.
no matter what happens, what's going on, they'll know I get it done. Like, all right, cool. Like, we got to drive 3.5 hours to knock this out. They're sitting there like, all right, who's gonna do this drive? Who's gonna take the wheel at this point? It's like, all right, I'm already in the car. Get the fuck in. We're rolling. Like, show me where the destination is. I'll make it happen no matter what's going on. Like, I'm not indecisive.
Okay.
So you need me to knock something out? Literally, like, I will go do it, get it done, come back home. You need me to run an errand out to like Minnesota, then I'm hopping in the car, I'm driving to Minnesota, and I'm coming back home.
Come through, bruh. Come through, bruh.
So yeah, they know that about me for sure, and I think that's like another like thing about being a traditional male. It's just that you have to be super reliable.
Gotcha. What about you, Mel?
I think it's about how approachable I am. Like, people can come to me and they be telling me they dirt, and I'm just like, you know what? I get you. Like, it's okay. Like, I welcome people with open arms. I mean, unless you just like all the way foul, I'm like, you need to get the fuck. Like, but like, I'm very accepting. That's probably like I think I'm pretty easy to talk to. I think that's what they probably would say.
Okay, so we're gonna end this episode with this. So, what are your top 3 takeaways if you're meeting your partner's family for the first time? We'll start with Francis this time. Go ahead, Francis. What are your top 3 takeaways if you're meeting?
Okay. Let's see. Hey, I would say have fun. Just don't be too hard on yourself. Just taking the experience as an opportunity to get to know your potential partner or potential spouse or significant other, family, as an opportunity to learn more about her and her family. And lastly, I would say, let's see. Wow. Man, I'm struggling with my last one. What's my last one? Somebody help me.
Be honest.
Watch out for the
Yeah.
book.
Be honest. Be honest. That's a good one. Be honest. Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Chunky?
Oh man, I'm gonna take Francis number 3. I'm gonna move it to number 1 for me. So be honest. The next thing I would say is take it as a learning experience. So absorbing as much knowledge as you can when you're with that person's family. There are little things that come out here and there, and if you catch on to it, you'll be able to put a big picture together about who their family is, instead of taking that superficial stuff like those ragtag arguments or those like sly comments. But when you hang around someone long enough, you tend to know them a little bit better. And the last thing is be respectful. So yeah, rolling up in the house, calling them Mr. and Mrs. I'm not saying ma'am and sir. I think that really makes people feel like old. But like address them the way that they request to be addressed. And then once again, like I thought was funny for Mel, like cursing in someone else's house, like, yeah, like kind of hold off a little bit. And once you get the go ahead, then it's just like you're good to go. So yeah, those are my 3.
That was good.
Go ahead, Mel. What's your top 3?
My top 3 is to definitely exercise boundaries, and I only say that because that's something I had to learn. Sometimes I let out too much information, and that can actually leave you in a kind of difficult spot depending on who's listening, because you don't know who is your friend and who's not. And me, that's probably one of my biggest mistakes, because I automatically assume that why wouldn't anybody would want to be my friend? And you leave yourself open. So make sure that you exercise boundaries, make sure that you know your audience, and honesty is a big thing, like, cuz you don't want to like put yourself out there looking some way and then living by false pretenses. And it's just like, well, I thought. And it's like, well, you did think.
I don't even know if I haven't met anybody yet, so but I guess in my head I would think my top 3 takeaways. Well, I don't even know. I just have it like you said, be honest. I'm gonna be real 100% no matter what. So that's just me. You might like it, you might not. I don't care. The other thing I'm gonna say is, I really do pay attention to how people. I'm very close to my family, so I think we had mentioned Chunky had mentioned earlier, like just seeing how people interact, and and even with Francis saying like, how a parent acts, you can see it how it might translate into a spouse. I want to know how they are with their siblings. Are they close with their siblings? Because I'm really close with mine, and that would be kind of odd if they're not close with their siblings. That would be weird for me. And actually, it'd be easier if they were the only child, because then I don't have to worry about that.
Nice.
So that's like pretty much all my takeaways. Just be respectful, be yourself, and be respectful.
One thing. Also, be fair. I think it's important to be fair, because I also didn't realize that, like when you mentioned the siblings, especially if you have younger siblings, be respectful of their time. Like, don't try to push yourself completely into the family. Like, let it go gracefully, let it go on its own time, because sometimes the siblings will, might take offense of how immersive you're trying to be.
Yeah.
Not even like just to say, like maybe the family might take offense of how immersive you try to be
that fast
or that slow. Like just try to make it as natural as a transition as possible.
I got you. So we're gonna end this episode now. Just so you know, you can always. Well, first I'm gonna let Chunky go and let you know where we can find you guys again.
Yeah. So yes, you can follow us on all streaming platforms at Jollof Colored Pod for all the episodes, especially episode 17. Which we had the lovely ladies that we're talking to right now on that episode. So if you don't like us by now, I think you should listen to that one, and then you'll eventually like us, and you'll listen to more of our stuff. So that's how that works.
We're on it.
So start from there. But yeah, you can check us out on Instagram. Once again, same place, Jerk Jollof Colored Pod. That's JerkJollofCollardPod.
Yes, sir.
Great job spelling it out, because I'll be like elemental PQRS.
She has trouble spelling.
I do,
but she's great at reading.
I am great at reading.
Oh.
Just so you guys know, you can always check us out at
allegedlycredible.com. You can check us out on all streaming platforms, all social media platforms. Even though we're distant with our postage, you still catch us there.
You can also follow, if you want to follow me personally, like my art page, it's at Creative Lady Faye. You can also follow me on my fitness page, which is Lady Faye 212.
Yeah, that's right. That's accurate.
And what about
follow me on Instagram under the THEE_main MANE because of hair _chick. You can follow me on Facebook under the Allegedly Credible podcast. And yeah, you can follow me on TikTok too. I'm trying.
What? You be dancing and break dancing and stuff? What you be doing? What you be doing?
What are you doing?
Don't let me catch you dancing on the web.
I will. If you guys, I'll just put it out there now. If the fans want to see me attempt these TikTok dances and to make myself look like I was born in 1990, I will do it if it costs us followers.
If it costs us followers?
I mean,
if you gain followers, I already got you. I heard you.
Do it.
I will do it for the talk and the tick and I will do it.
Anyway, guys.
Hey, I'm all for this.
Yeah, I am too. As long as you drive fast, you shoot guns, I'm with it.
Anyway, guys, we have Next week's not going to be a new episode because it's Thanksgiving, so please enjoy your holiday. And if you're meeting somebody's family for the first time, please make sure you listen to this episode
And
check
brush
it
your
out.
teeth,
And brush
guys.
your teeth.
Brush it.
Ooh.
Ooh, facts.
Or just keep mouthwash in your pocket.
Yeah, nobody wants to smell
Instead
you.
of hot sauce in your bag, keep mouthwash in your bag.
And
Swag.
episode on Thanksgiving, we were going to have an episode. We're going to do a live that Saturday instead. So Mel forgets everything. We're going to be doing a live that Saturday instead. So we will see you guys then. Enjoy the rest of your holiday in the month of November. We'll see you in December.
Peace out.
Peace.
Thanks for having us again.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
We appreciate it.